What's up, everybody? It's Chandler Rome with Crush City Territory here with Tyler Stafford. And Tyler, I feel like we were just talking.
Yeah, it was like 12 hours ago. We said, all right, we'll see you after Christmas. And we were drugged back into the trenches of podcasting. We're here for you, working hard.
The Dana Brown gave Joe Espada perhaps an early Christmas present. Gave all the ground ball pitchers on his pitching staff an early Christmas present. Gave the middle of the lineup a early Christmas present, and continued to corner the market on paying middle-aged first baseman, as the Astros have agreed to a 3-year, $60 million contract with Christian Walker, arguably the best first baseman available. I don't even think it's arguable. The best first baseman available this winter on the free agent market. A lot of layers here. Certainly helps the lineup. This is a guy that's hit at least 26 home runs in each of the past 3 seasons. Has been a very, very good offensive player. Is a 3-time Gold Glove winner, has won 3 consecutive Gold Gloves, will really help shore up a deteriorating infield defense. But I think the thing that maybe people want to talk about most, first of all, is this, Tyler, this signals the end of Alex Bregman's tenure in Houston.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. It is not fun. It's hard to be excited about Christian Walker, which I am. He's really good. He's a ton of fun to watch. But yeah, Bregman's going to be on another team. Presumably, like my fever dream said on the Red Sox. That's personally what I'm just going for, just so I can justify my dream of Bregman on the Red Sox. But yeah, man, it's gonna be really weird to not have Bregman on the team. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it just yet, but I'm sad.
And it's kind of weird because I think both of us thought that this was going to be the final outcome. Like, I don't think entering the off, and you can tell me if you thought otherwise, but I don't think entering the off season, either of us thought he was going to be back. But the fact that now I mean, it's not official. I guess crazier things have happened, but I can tell you with about 98% certainty that Alex Bregman will not be back in Houston. And I guess to have that almost finality, Tyler, that can be a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow. This is a face of this franchise that's going to leave.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell if like this has happened more to the Astros than normal, or if the Astros have just had so many good homegrown players that it feels like it happens more to the Astros. But I mean, like I said, with the exception of Jose Altuve, every other player who has been allowed to enter free agency that has been a face of the franchise has left. And on the one hand, that's been really hard to stomach. On the other hand, the Astros have been really good for a long time, and the Christian Walker signing makes them really good. And so it's hard to argue with the results, but emotionally, it is not fun.
The only comp I can really make is the Rays, because the Rays get these homegrown guys, and the minute they get too expensive and arb, they trade them. I mean, you think of Arozarena wasn't homegrown, but Arozarena, Tyler Glass now. You kind of keep going down the list. Willie Adames. Go down the list of those
Wade
guys.
Boggs.
Yeah, Wade Boggs. But yeah, you keep going down the list of those guys, and it's kind of the same way there, but their fans are conditioned to it. And also, like, I mean, no disrespect to the Rays, who have run a great franchise, and for what they are given, really succeed. But like, the Rays haven't won anything. Like,
Yeah.
the Astros, like, these guys that are leaving, like, they've formed like like fans have formed indelible memories of Alex Bregman, like sinking to his knees when they won the 2017 World Series. Kyle Tucker caught the last out of the 2022 World Series, and now these two guys are gone. And I'm not sure that signing Christian Walker is like the elixir. I don't think that's going to be the thing that, oh, everything's better, we got Christian Walker. Christian Walker, who is a good addition to the 2025 Astros that we'll talk about in a little bit. I mean, this is no slouch here. I mean, they got one of the best free agent position players available. But I think there's a segment of the fan base, Tyler, that would argue, one of the actual better position player free agents available was Alex Bregman. Like, why didn't they just go back to get him?
Yeah. You mentioned the Rays. There's a difference between can't and won't pay players. The Rays situation is, they don't have money. They don't even have a roof. Poor guys. The Astros are choosing not, if Jim Crane wanted to, he could write a check today for whatever Alex Bregman is asking for and would be okay financially. It wouldn't crater the team. Now, it may not make the most sense for the team, which is why they haven't done it. And sometimes I think that's almost harder to stomach. I feel like Rays fans can go like, this happens to us, but it makes sense. Where Astros fans is like, look, man, you could pay for these guys. You're not. But again, it keeps working, right? I mean, as much as I love George Springer, one of my favorite Astros of all time, I saw him in the minor leagues. I sat with Jeff Luna one time at an Oklahoma City game and just talked about George Springer, who was, just crushing the ball. It's not like he set the world on fire for Toronto. Correa obviously has had ups and downs and all kinds of things going on. But, the guys that they've let go haven't burned them yet. Now, Bregman goes to Fenway and hits 40 home runs next year and knocks the Astros out in the ALDS. That'll hurt, but it hasn't happened yet. And so at this point, you kind of have to go, all right, let's see what the team's going to be, because it's not going to be with Bregman.
An esteemed author and friend of both of ours, so friend of the pod, Evan Drellick, once wrote that winning fixes everything. And if the Astros win in 2025, no one will remember this. If Christian Walker comes to Houston and wins another Gold Glove, hits 35 homers, and is entrenched in the 4 or 5 spot in the lineup for a team that goes to the LCS again, no one will bat an eye that Alex Bregman is playing elsewhere. But right now, it's tough. I mean, it's tough to keep feeding this to your fans, I think. And even with the successes, even with the fact that they can point to, Carlos Correa left and Jeremy Pena slid in and was excellent, won World Series MVP. George Springer left and Kyle Tucker slid in. Didn't slide into center field, but slid into right field and was excellent. Garrett Cole left, and then the $10,000 crew came in of Valdez, of Framber Valdez, Luis Garcia, Jose Urquidy. All those guys came in, and Christian Javier came in and helped to offset that. Like, as much as like that provides hope, like, this is also a team that you look at and fans look at, and it's like, wow, like, it is the window closing a little bit because Jose Altuve is getting older. This is a team that you watched last year that did not play well in the playoffs, did not play well last year for a lot of stretches of the season. And now you're not going to have your best player from that team, even though he missed 79 games. Kyle Tucker was that team's best player. And you're going to be without a galvanizing leader presence in the clubhouse and a guy that you just penciled into the 2-hole every day in Alex Bregman. It is not hyperbole, and it's not a lie to say that this is going to be a weaker Houston Astros team in 2025 without those guys.
Yeah.
That being said, Christian Walker's a good addition. Christian Walker solves everything that they need. Really, really, when you look at him, I hate to keep bringing up the Jose Abreu contract, but it seems like that fans just can't get that out of their head, and they will be paying him in addition to Christian Walker to play first base this year, but only one of them will be in uniform.
They should do like the trench coat thing where Abreu can be the legs, Walker can be the arms up there, and we've got like a 11-foot tall first baseman.
I'm not sure if you want Jose Abreu to be the legs.
I'm not sure I want him to be the arms either.
let Jose Abreu be the upper half. At least Christian Walker has some range. Yeah. Christian Walker can move and has like some reaction time when the ball is hit to him, because he is an excellent defender. As we mentioned, won 3 consecutive Gold Gloves at first base. And Tyler, there's no denying his bat helps this lineup. His bat this is an impact bat that automatically makes this lineup better. And I'm not sitting here telling you that the Astros overlooked his bat. However, I would wager that his defensive prowess is probably more coveted by the Astros than his bat.
Yeah, and it's also a defensive profile that fits their need. You know, there's when you're talking about first base defense, you're really talking about scooping the ball and your range, right? Like Gurriel was really good at scooping bad throws, didn't have great range. Christian Walker's range is unbelievable. He can move so far. And, you know, with Altuve, who, you know, the range isn't what it used to be. Pairing them up
That's putting it very nicely.
Uh, look, I'm still trying to just get high fives from people. I don't want fans coming and yelling at me. I haven't lost my soul like you have. But you know, Christian Walker's defense makes the whole infield work better. You can move people around in a different way. Like I'm excited to see what the nerds in the front office come up with for, you know, the way that they position people on that side of the infield, because Christian Walker can move so well at the first base position.
And that's something that last year, no matter who they ran out there, whether it was Abreu, John Singleton, Victor Caratini, Yainer Diaz, like they just didn't have that range. They couldn't get like anything hit to their right was a base hit. I mean, it was really hard. And you know, Jose Altuve, as great of a hitter as he is, and as great of just an all around player, his defense has taken a pretty drastic step back these last 2 years. And it exposed, because the Astros didn't have a good defensive first baseman, it exposed Jose Altuve's defense probably more than the Astros wanted to ever see. And that was a difficult thing for them to get to, especially when, as we talked about, when we talked about the Nolan Arenado situation, why they were targeting him. They're going to bring back Framber Valdez and Hunter Brown, two guys that were in the top 11 last year in ground ball rate in Major League Baseball. Framber Valdez was number 1. Hunter Brown was number 11. You're going to count on them for 400 innings this year. Like, you've got to have a competent defensive infield behind him. And you kind of saw that was their priority when they targeted Nolan Arenado, because you and I both said Nolan Arenado's offense was precipitously declining, but the defensive value he would have brought would have outweighed that, in my opinion. Now you get the best of both worlds. You get a guy, obviously not on the left side of the infield, but you get a guy that his defensive metrics are off the charts. And as an offensive player, Tyler, this is a really, really good addition to a lineup that needed another impact bat in the middle, especially after the two that they lost this winter.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously you're a real reporter. I'm just reading things on the internet, but the Astros have wanted Christian Walker for a while, right?
Yeah, you know, they had certainly talked about him. That he got brought up at the trade deadline last year as someone that they could maybe try to go after, but the D-backs were in it. Like they weren't going to trade off their pieces; they were in it and trying to win. But yeah, his name was thrown out. Isaac Paredes was the more realistic and tangible trade deadline target last year. But I even think if they would have acquired Isaac Paredes last year, at the deadline, yes, he would have played first base, but I think their long-term view was, again, knowing in the back of their mind that Alex Bregman probably wasn't going to come back, that Isaac Paredes would have probably shifted to third all along, and they would have still needed a first baseman this year. And Christian Walker would have been atop their list.
Remember when the Diamondbacks played the Rangers in the World Series? Talk about a series that just never happened. Like that's just lost to history. No one's ever going to talk about that again. Like that has to be the least interesting World Series of the last 15, 20 years.
I mean, yes, with the two teams, yes. The market sizes, just everything, but there were some good games in that World Series. Game 1 was electric. And then, you know, the clinching game was I forgot who pitched for the D-backs, but had a no-hitter like into the 6th inning. And then the Rangers broke it up and came back and won. And, you know, it was a good, like, quality of game wise. It was a great World Series, but not from the brands, if you will. But yeah, Christian Walker has played in a World Series, so he brings playoff experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, he's really good. I'm excited. I mean, again, you have to be a really good defensive first baseman for people to notice that you're a good defensive first baseman. You know what I mean? Like you don't think about it when you watch first baseman play, but you do when you watch Christian Walker. I mean, he he moves, man. He can make some really great plays, and like we said, with the specific, you know, layout of the team defensively, he fits perfectly for them.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned his range. He's in the 97th percentile in range on Baseball Savant. He is, if not the best defensive first baseman out there right now, in the top two or three.
Oh,
And
I think he is, and I don't think it's particularly close. It's like Matt Olson would probably be the other, and I
Mhm.
don't think it's really close. Like he's so good at first base.
and it gives you hope that even if and look, there is nothing in his offensive metrics that suggests that there's a decline coming. Like his bat speed remains great, quality of his contact, everything. His strikeouts were up a little bit last year, but I mean, you can't really you're splitting hairs at this point. His strikeout rate was up, his walk rate was also. He walked at a 10% rate last year. So it's pretty obvious. I mean, he can get on base. He can find a way to get on base. But the offensive, even if there is some step back offensively, even if he's not going to be hitting 30 homers a season, like there is still value to be had there. And that was the problem with the Jose Abreu contract, was that if he didn't hit, he gave you nothing else. And
Right.
it was going to be a tough sell. And he got here and he didn't hit. And so I think the Astros are hoping that Christian Walker comes here and hits. But if he comes here and to struggle for the first couple months, he can still impact this ball club just by standing at first base and, scooping some throws, taking away a couple of hits, being good at, holding runners and getting off in time and being and knowing where to be. It will be a complete night and day at first base for the Astros.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be exciting to watch. Like I said, he's fun to watch, man. I'm pumped.
And I think one other thing that can't be overlooked in talking about this is the Astros had an ace in the hole a little bit here. They hired Tony Perezchica this in November. They hired Tony Perezchica to be their third base coach and to be their new infield coach. He had spent the past 13 years with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Mm.
People you talk to give Tony Perezchica a lot of credit for Christian Walker becoming the defensive first baseman that he is. So not only is there familiarity there, it stands to reason that Dana Brown, Joe Espada, the decision makers that were deliberating on this deal probably went to Tony Perezchica, who literally has seen this guy play more than probably anyone in the Astros orbit combined. And probably asked him like, "Hey, like we need to know the red flags. We need to know like where things are." And if he gave his blessing, if he gave his seal of approval, then I think they have to feel comfortable that this is going to be a pretty seamless fit.
What a fun name, Tony Perezchica.
It
I would say that all the time. I'm with you. I just wanted to say it now. It's a good one.
Tony Perez Chica. He
That's a
will. He's got a long way to go to replicate Gary Pettis's windmill. Maybe the windmill will be. Maybe the
Pettis
windmill will be
Chica.
better. Pettis Chica.
Wait a minute. I
Oh
think we're
man.
onto something. Maybe we could have them in the trench coat.
Oh man. Well, I'd want Gary on top of the train. I
Yeah, the
definitely want Gary
11-foot
on top.
windmill.
He can windmill, and then you have Tony on the bottom. But I guess to finish it up, I guess a lot of people are going to ask what's next. Um, I don't think they're going to like my answer. I think this is it.
Mm.
I think this is the extent of this. I think this was the splash. This is the big. I mean, you just spent $60 million on a first baseman. It's not as if they went out and got somebody off the scrap heap for $10 million. Like, I think this is the last substantial addition to this team.
Can you give a quick rundown of the financial situation that they're in? What are they at the luxury threshold? Do you know?
So there are a couple different outside approximations that you can look at for the luxury tax. Cots Contracts does it. Spot Track does it. And all of them, the numbers vary a little bit. What I think I'm comfortable saying, just based off using both of them, is right now they're about $3 million under right now. But that figures in arbitration salaries as estimates. So when they go to arbitration, when they go to exchange salary figures with their arbitration eligible guys, if that sum exceeds what MLB Trade Rumors has as a projection, then that's gonna affect the number. So as of right now, they're either right at. I think for our purposes, they're probably right at it. They probably can't make any substantial move without going over. And make no mistake, from what I understand, they are intent on staying under the competitive balance, at least for now. Now, maybe we get to the deadline, and if this team's in it, and again, Jim Crane has been known, if there is that over the top move to make, Zach Greinke in 2019, Josh Hader last year, like if there is that over the top move to make, he will do it and he will go over the CBT. But I think as of right now, their intention is to stay under.
Remember when they traded for Justin Verlander? That was cool.
How did all those Jake Rogers is still a guy, but
we
need to find Franklin Perez.
Mm.
We need to find Franklin Perez and see where he
is.
Daz
Cameron.
I think Daz Cameron's still bouncing around. I think he was a non-roster guy with the A's last I saw.
He was drafted like right after Tucker, right? It was that same draft
it was the same draft. I think it was like the comp.
He was like 30th or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so walk me through what this means on the like draft pick side. The Astros lose their second and fifth highest pick. Is that what it is?
So Christian Walker did get a qualifying offer from the D-backs to turn it down. So because the Astros signed him and because they paid the CBT last year, their penalties are as follows. They're going to lose their second and fifth highest draft pick in the 2025 draft, in addition to $1 million in international bonus pool money. So rip Roki Sasaki. Not that Roki Sasaki was ever a thing, but the Astros are not going to play for Roki Sasaki.
And $1 million could sign you like 100 Frombers.
100 Frombers, 50 Javiers, 75 Garcias. Think about what you could do with that. Get Ozzo Campo back on the line and get him to work his magic. With that being said, Alex Bregman also has a qualifying offer attached to him. So if and when he signs elsewhere, the Astros will get a comp pick for that. So if I'm reading the rules right, and I think I am, that just means that the Astros are going to lose one pick out of this.
Yeah, because they'll get the comp pick back, and then they'll lose it as it being their second highest pick. So they'll end up losing like their fourth or fifth round pick or whatever.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Yes. And if someone smarter than me is listening to this and thinks I'm wrong, please let me know. But I think I'm reading MLB.com's glossary correctly, and I think that's how it works. So basically they're going to lose one pick. Is
how much is $1 million for the international? Like, how much did they have before losing that?
I don't know that off the top. I should. I don't know that off the top of my head.
You knew Tony Perezchica's name off the top of your head.
I did know Tony Perezchica's name off the top of my head.
You also just dropped, when you said Kyle Tucker, you're like, he missed 79 games. Like, that's wild that you just have that.
Well, like there's some stuff you keep writing over and over.
Yeah, but it's so funny that you're just like, oh, and of course he missed 79 games. We all remember that.
Well, it's one of those things, like when you've written something so many times, it just like ingrains in your mind. You don't have, and it's like I get to skip a step in the writing process. Like if I memorize, it's like I don't have to go to Baseball Reference and see, all right, when did he foul it off his shin again? All right, and then when did he come back? All right, and then I got to go to the team log and see, all right, how many games is that between? It's a process, man. Like I'm all for efficiency. I'm all for seamless efficiency.
Just like have like a Google Doc that's just the little things that you write over and over again, so you can just copy paste it from there.
Jeff Luno and I aren't alike in a lot of ways, but we do like ruthless efficiency, and that is me. I like to be ruthlessly efficient. I don't like to go to Baseball Reference 18 times while I'm trying to write something.
I love Jeff Luno. I'll fight people on that. He was the best.
A lot of people do. the infrastructure that remains here is
FC Cancun loves him.
FC Cancun. It must be that's a nice, like, obviously
The
he didn't,
fighting tourists.
obviously, like, he didn't love getting fired, but like when the consolation prize is you get to like run a cool soccer team in Cancun, like, I'll take that. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Good for Jeff.
I got to mention, you mentioned Evan Drellick earlier. I think of this once a month. It's probably my favorite tweet of all time. And it was Evan. Somebody, it was like some hitter's last 5 at bats. And it said like single homer, homer. And
I
he
know that.
quote tweeted it and said, it looks like a press box seating arrangement. And I think of that all the time. That is so funny.
In the Minute Maid Park press box, there are a lot of there would be a lot of homers assigned for seats in the Minute Maid Park press box. And then you'd get down to me, and yes, there would be single. On that note, we are going to leave you, and we promise this time we will not be back until after Christmas. Thank you for listening. Again, thank you for the outpouring of support since we launched this thing. We've now had 2 emergency podcasts in our first 6 podcasts, which is a great harbinger for things to come, that we started this thing and all hell has broken loose. So if you like this, subscribe to the YouTube channel right below you. Hit the subscribe button. It'll alert you every time we post a new pod. Rate and review us on Apple. You listen wherever you get your podcast. We'll be there twice a week in the off season, 3 times a week when Christian Walker and the Houston Astros begin their regular season. We'll talk to you later, guys. Y'all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays.
Bye.